let's switch and talk about the pitching. Because Ranger Suarez yesterday, I know, Tyler, you and Jamie had a chance to recap it in our post-game show last night. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. But the pitching has been one of those areas that we've talked about, an area that needs to get fixed. This is one you can directly correlate to the Phillies' success because, yet again, as we've been saying many times, just to reiterate, when the starting pitcher is able to pitch 7 or more innings, the Phillies have been winning games. 32 straight games they've won. They are 32-1 on the season. They did lose the opening weekend, of course, when they went further into the game. But since that weekend against the Braves, they've been 32-0 when their starting pitcher goes 7+. Ranger Suarez did not get to 7 last night, but Ranger Suarez did give you 5 shutout innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. His 12th win of the season. He threw 82 pitches. And I know the velocity is something that people are pointing to, questioning. But I think as we saw the velocity drop, like his sinker was around 87 miles per hour to start off the game, down from his usual average around 91 miles per hour. Of the 39 sinkers and 4-seamers he threw, 26 were below 90 miles per hour last night. So yes, his velocity was lower against the Marlins. But we also know that Ranger Suarez, as he's working back from being on the IL, as Rob Thompson has mentioned, they want to continue to ramp him up, get him increasing his innings, but at a slow rate. So I actually don't mind him having a lower velocity if it allows him to stretch 5 shutout innings and get through 82 pitches and continue to increase his pitch count. Because you do want to get Ranger Suarez back to being able to pitch 7 innings, 6, 7 innings consistently with high velocity. But you can't rush him back. Let's not forget, he's still working back. He's just had a couple of starts now coming off the IL. And I do think each outing we're going to see him progress. But I think much like we keep talking about with Bryce Harper needing to take it slow, so does Ranger Suarez. He's back. He's working back. But we don't need him to rush out there and try to throw high velocity every pitch. And now he's overextending himself too quickly. So I'm not hitting the panic button on Ranger Suarez. I actually like the fact he had to drop the velo on his pitches, but was still able to get 5 shutout innings through that with 3 hits and 2 walks in that. That's fantastic. And that's honestly an encouraging bright spot to help him get back to what we need him as that pre-All-Star break Ranger Suarez.
Yeah, I think the theme of my talking points today seems to be multiple things can be true at once, right? Because I don't like the fact that his velocity dipped. I do, however, like the fact that he powered through it and pitched. We've talked about this plenty. Ranger Suarez is a pitcher. And
yeah,
let me expound, because if you just cut Ranger Suarez as a pitcher, people would go, yeah,
like,
well, thanks.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks, Tyler. That's how that works. Ranger Suarez is a pitcher in the sense that he is not a thrower. And there's a lot of throwers in the league. There's probably more throwers than ever in Major League Baseball. He is a pitcher's pitcher, where he is about location, command, pitch variance, up and down, in and out, getting hitters off their onto their front foot. He is about changing speeds, throwing strikes, working backwards. All of these things are so important for the success of really any pitcher. You can get away with it when you're Ben Joyce and you're breaking the record for hardest thrown fastball in Major League history. But you don't get away with it. I don't even think you get away with it until you start to get to like 97, 98, 99. 94 to 96 doesn't really even get away with it anymore. Ranger Suarez is the guy that when JT Realmuto sets his glove up, you saw it last night with the at-bat with Christian Pache, set his glove up and in, on his hands, set the glove up, bang, hit the spot. I don't think JT moved his hand for the entirety of the pitch. Don't think he moved his glove. That's the kind of guy that Ranger Suarez is. And when he's on his best, regardless of his velocity, you don't want it down at 86. But I think a couple miles an hour when all of those other factors are on isn't detrimental to Ranger Suarez the way that it might be to a thrower, because he knows how to pitch. He knows how to work out of spots. He had an offense yesterday. It's not a very good offense in the Marlins, right? Like Xavier Edwards is really, really good at the top of the lineup. Jake Berger always provides some pop, but they're not a great team. Kyle Stowers is really struggling with strikeouts. Colin Norby is going to be a good player, but I don't think he's quite there just yet. It's a young, inexperienced baseball team and a young, inexperienced offense, but Ranger was able to take advantage of that yesterday. You know, I thought his curveball was his best pitch. He didn't throw it a ton, but he threw it well, threw it in good spots. You know, and was able to bury hitters off their back foot or up at the hands or down and away to the right-handed hitters with the changeup, because he was able to maintain a pitcher's philosophy.
Yeah, I think the biggest key right now is we have to stop. I hate to say this. I think because of the expectations of this team, the talent of this team, the way this season has gone, every game we're looking at it as, oh no, if you're doing this, they're not going to win the World Series. The two don't correlate directly. Yes, you can be nervous because obviously we want them to be trending in the right direction. But right now, this team, this is their time. They have set themselves up. The magic number is now like 15. They've set themselves up to be in a really good place. They've got the NL East is theirs to win, as the Braves and Mets are battling for that last wild card spot, not even the NL East at this point. It's now a matter of locking in a top 2 spot in the National League. Obviously, we know that. So you want to keep winning games. Obviously, we also know that. But on the other side, this is also that time to kind of like fine-tune things heading into the playoffs to make sure when we cross into Red October, the Phillies are clicking on all cylinders. And for Ranger Suarez, he's one of those pieces you can't look at just one game in isolation. Look at how he's returned and how he looked last night. So yesterday was the first time that Ranger Suarez was able to throw over 80 pitches. We know that Rob Thompson's been saying he wants to increase the pitch count. Well, in his first couple of games back, when he got around 75 pitches, we started to see Ranger Suarez struggle and unable to get strikes, unable to get out of innings. So yesterday you get an opportunity. His ERA drops back under 3, so he's now at a 2.9 ERA, 2.90 ERA. He also did get his velocity up by the last inning. So although he started off throwing that 86-mile-per-hour sinker, as the game progressed, his velocity also started to pick up. And by his final inning, the 5th inning, he was throwing up around 90 miles per hour. So you did at least see him get opportunities to progressively get better through the game versus the reverse that we've seen previously, where he starts off great, the velo is there, and now because he's not ready to pitch deeper into, you know, that 80 pitch area, he now struggles. So I'd rather him slow walk it. It does help. It's the Marlins, to be honest. Their offense is not great. We know that. So there's even less pressure in that sense. Go out there, ease in, throw less velocity, pick up your velocity as the game goes on. But the goal, I think, for him yesterday was to get to over 80 pitches. And he did that with 82. And not to mention, on top of that, for Ranger Suarez, you set your team up. 5 shutout innings. Oh, yeah. And then it was the 6th inning that we saw, you know, the breakout of the offense with a 4-run 6th inning. So not only did he do his job, I think it's like almost nitpicking. Would we love the velocity to be higher? Absolutely. But he did enough. 5 shutout innings is enough. Doesn't matter how it got there. You got 5 shutout innings. You got to over 80 pitches, and you allowed your team to now have a breakout 6th inning that gave the offense a chance to, you know, score 4 runs and take the lead. So I do agree. We're going to keep an eye on his velocity without a doubt. But ultimately, as long as he's continuing to ramp up his pitch count, it's got to be everything together. The velocity, the pitch count, his strikes, you know, how is he getting in and out of innings? And overall, is he getting back to being his goal of being that 7-inning type of starting pitcher?